Hey Nick,
Hey, buddy.
how's it going?
It is going. How's you?
Not too bad. I know we've been doing this for around 10 episodes here. I think it's 11. And at this point, I've told you 10 different jokes, and it seems like so far they haven't worked. I've wanted to make you laugh, but I guess no pun intended.
Mm.
We don't have it yet. Good morning, Vietnam. I figured I did what did I do? The Truman Show a couple weeks ago would go with Good Morning Vietnam today. Hey, this is We Don't Have It Yet. My name is Wyatt, and cracking open an ice cold beverage next to me on the other side of the country is my buddy Nick. How's it going, Nick?
I didn't I do Good Morning Vietnam once, but I was screaming really loud into the microphone and it broke up.
Probably, but sometimes you gotta remake something that's
Well, yeah,
good.
do it without me screwing it up, basically.
Well, we'll see how this goes because I know sometimes with sustained talking, mics cut out, so this audio may be garbage, and we may have to go back in and post and re-record a new intro.
That's all right. I like editing. How's you?
Not too bad. It's a rainy, kind of crappy day, but with the last several months here in New England, it's kind of needed, so I'm not too upset.
Yeah, it was cold as hell this morning. I was standing at the bus stop, shivering with my son.
Was your son also shivering, or did you at least make sure he was warm?
He was kind of wrapped around me and I him in a hug formation, kind of, use our body warmths to survive type of situation. But as soon as I walked out of the house, he did say, "Daddy, make sure to put your hood up because it's cold." So there you go.
Hey, at least he looks out for you.
Yeah.
Which is
Uh,
kind of surprising because I think I kind of really want to get into something we had talked about for a couple of weeks, and I'm really curious to hear how it went. Didn't you recently do your dads versus or parents versus kids soccer game?
oh yeah. So I think that was like the day after we recorded last week. But yes, and it went about as well as you would expect, I think. Uh, Yeah, a lot of parents very confident in their abilities, who maybe should have, seen where their lung capacity was at ahead of time before getting braggadocious. But no, it was a lot of fun, honestly, and it's pretty funny because you can like really see the parents that were definitely soccer players when they were younger, kind of thing,
Yeah.
and then there's the guys like me that are completely uncoordinated. Um, I was trying to think about it. It may have been, I mean, probably at least 25 years since I've actually
Damn.
participated in a soccer game. I was
Don't
maybe
don't tell
college
your country
college
people that.
I know college intramurals probably was the last time, and before that it was rec league when I was 10, 12. I don't know. So yeah, that was fun. But I stood in goal at first, just so hopefully I figured that would put less pressure on me to perform well.
Yeah,
That
nope.
that didn't go well at all. Anybody told you that 9-year-olds are really fast? Holy shit. So yeah, despite my tallness and thinking that I could cover more ground in the goal, they're quite wily, the little children, at running around big slow men. So yeah, I let a couple through, and then I did get brave and trot out there, and my neighbor actually, his kid is on the team as well, and he's from Poland and grew up playing football. Obviously, there that was the sport his whole life, and he's probably about a couple years younger than me, and still a totally athletic guy. And he's like out there dominating every moment of the entire thing, just like doing cool moves around the kids and stuff. And I did catch a long pass from him and score a goal off of it. So like
Hey!
that was like way beyond my own expectations, and I almost like totally whiffed the whole thing, and went end over end, which I did do once. I was fully sprinting, at least in my old man 6'5" awkward gangly sprint of a 42-year-old, however it actually looked. In my head I'm sprinting, and going up for a long pass that somebody kind of placed for me, and I just took the kick and slid straight back on my back. Full banana
Charlie
peel.
Brown.
Full banana peel. Yep, full Charlie Brown. That got a couple chuckles. One kid did announce, "Whose dad is that?" Which is always great.
And I assume your son spoke right up and said, "That's mine," right?
I don't recall him saying anything at the moment, funnily enough.
Damn, it's too bad my dad's not here tonight.
There was one thing too. I think it was where I had to, do a goal kick from or something when I was in goalie, and I had forgotten where to place the ball, and I was kind of roundly mocked by a group of 9-year-olds. Like, you don't even know the rules. It's like, I don't watch this sport, man. So yeah, my relatives would be very upset with me, but after this year, man, I'm just convinced that I will never learn what offsides in soccer is.
It's a bit different than offsides in football.
Well, this we know. Yeah, this we know. But I realize I probably don't really know what it is in hockey either, which speaks to how much I've watched of either sport, really, which is pretty sad.
I can get into it with you offline on that, I'm sure, as it would be great content to explain.
Right, of course,
on the podcast, but
I mean, I'll add to it if you're going to do this. Maybe we can record a special episode where not only you explain that, but then you could get into the differences between offsides, neutral zone infraction, encroachment, and come on, nobody's going to tell me they know all the differences.
We'll have to do we'll have a new series of episodes called "Why It Explains," and you could just be all the things that you don't know about that maybe I know about.
Dude, you could just go into the rule changes of the NFL in the last 5 years, and I would probably be like, they do what now? I didn't know about that.
Like the new fun kickoff rule that's changed several times over the last 5 or 6 years.
Oh yeah, I went into this season being like, what? Why does the kickoff look all weird? What's going on here? Yeah, I had no idea. The NFL is not a great product.
Yeah, just in general, I would
days.
go out on a limb to say. And sadly, it feels like college football is also heading in the same direction. But hey,
I'm fortunate enough to have never cared that much about college football because my alma mater did not have a football team, and thus I liked having Saturdays to myself. Like, as obsessed as I was with the NFL, if I added a full day of college football into that, I feel like that, I don't know, have people have time to watch other things, or where do you mow the lawn? Like, Christ.
I think they have people to do that.
Oh, right. But I see, like, that's your entire weekend.
Yeah, I've never really actually been that big into college football or so. I have a cursory fandom of the UMass Minutemen. But
I watch bowl season and a little bit of Maryland stuff on occasion, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I like college basketball. I'd rather just watch that when the time
I'd just
comes.
rather watch baseball all year, to be perfectly honest with you. But
that works too. Yeah, I do love me baseball. What did you do? You went to like multiple ticketed events as per usual.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of stuff actually, and most of it, 2/3 of it was the past couple days. But so Wednesday, I did my bi-weekly hosting of video game night over at the Pinball Club, Capital Pinball and Gaming, I think is what we're called now at this point.
Shredder night.
Yeah, I did TMNT's Revenge. I decided to do it for Switch. Played it on my Switch too. We actually had it running up on the arcade, but I figured if we had an overflow, we could have a couple games going. But I don't know if you know, Shredder's Revenge is actually 6 players, which is really, almost like the old X-Men beat 'em up. It's pretty wild. So I have the Ultimate Gold, whatever Super Edition that has all of the DLC and stuff. So there's actually, I believe there's 10 or 11 characters you can choose from. The Ninja Turtles, Splinter, April, Casey, Yojimbo, Mona Lisa, and a couple other like second, third tier Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle characters that people that aren't fans of the comics and comics wouldn't recognize. But it's kind of cool to see some of the characters that you don't really necessarily see anywhere else.
That was the first of me seeing Yojimbo in many, many years.
Yeah,
Probably since like the animated series was the last time I thought about that character.
Yeah. I played as Donatello, I think, who I usually grab. We had 4 people that played, so sadly I didn't even get a full 6 people going, but we played through the entire 16 levels throughout the night. Everyone seemed to have a blast. I think that's probably the second time I've played through it. When it first came out, I played with 5 other people online, I believe.
So I don't remember there being 6 people. Like I played a little bit online when it first came out, and I definitely remember playing 4 people, but I guess I just never realized.
Well, and I don't know if a ton of people do realize, but maybe they do. And also, it's hard enough to get 4 people together. So getting 6 people together, which thankfully it's 6-player couch co-op or online. I was really hoping I would have got 6 people there this past week because I wanted to see how hectic it actually would be getting. But it was fun. There's a mode that came out. It was like a challenge mode that I haven't touched yet, but I think it's more like a boss rush, and you have to collect these crystals and do XYZ. I might fire it up again at some point.
Added a lot to that. It's funny that you mentioned that you have it on the arcade cabinet too, just because I know that might just be running the PC Steam version. But that game, Shredder's Revenge, is like the most ported game you'll see these days. Every single one of my emulation handhelds pretty much can run it. It's been ported to native Linux. It's been ported to Android. Like, it's on every major console PC ecosystem that there is. So yeah, pretty much all my handhelds will have Shredder's Revenge a lot of the times, just because it's a really easy to install port, and once you've bought it once, you can just move the files wherever you want.
Yep.
And it's just a really solid pick up and play, fun, dive in, for 20 minutes type of thing, or sit there and run through the whole thing.
Yeah, it's it builds off of the Turtles in Time and the I think the 89 arcade version, maybe 88. I can't remember when the first one came out, but
I don't know.
Late 80s.
I was there.
Yeah, it builds off that. So obviously those games, you just have a jump and attack button, and that's it. So Shredder's Revenge, there's jump hack. Then you have like a dodge button. You have a couple different
combos,
like special moves. Yeah, combos and special moves that you could do. And it actually has a light, like an RPG light system where you actually level up for however many, like you beat 100 foot soldiers, you get a new point on your HP bar, or you get to level 2 and it's like you unlock a new combo. Just something to keep you, coming back for more and more. But it was.
Is that actually like a progression mode versus maybe an arcade mode?
Well, I guess that's technically. So there's the story mode and there's arcade mode. We played the story mode, which has like some unlockables and stuff like that. Arcade mode, I'm sure you have at full access to everything as you go. I did see, which I'll be curious, and maybe at some point if I really want to go through it all, but there are different endings to the game based on the 7 characters that are originally in the game.
Nice.
And to see the real ending of the game, you have to beat it with all 7, and then it'll show you like the super ending of what actually happens.
Yeah, but that's a lot.
Yeah,
and YouTube exists, man.
Exactly. It probably won't be something I ever do, but if I get other people to play with, I will play, because it only gives you the ending for whoever the first player is. So I get to see the Donatello ending after we finished. So
but not all the other ones, kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. So if I do end up playing it again at some point, I'll just play through it with a different character.
Yeah, back in the day, I had the time to keep running Chrono Trigger to see all the endings, or to run every single character in Tekken to watch the crude
Twisted Metal
CGI. Oh yeah, Twisted Metal. That's another one. Yeah, I think those were FMV, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't remember if the original Twisted Metal was, but I know. Actually, no. I don't think they were FMV.
No,
I think
can't
they
remember.
were just animated either slides or there may have been like actual like animation. But
It's just funny. Just I mean, it harkens back to a different era that you're willing to put in the time just to watch that little,
30 seconds
if that,
yeah.
yeah,
This is the wish I got. Okay,
yeah.
here's your wish,
Like
and then it's over.
like the Tekken 1 endings. I need to go back and watch those again because I can specifically remember like staying up all night with buddies to like beat each, the game with each individual character just so we could watch this stupid little thing at the very end. And it was a treat. Oh my god, it was amazing.
Now look at us. We're trying to skip any cutscenes in video games so we can get to.
I don't want time for this shit. Come on to the next one.
But
Consume.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing it. I've averaged about, I'd say, 4 or 5 people a week coming, which is about what I'm hoping for. I want enough to. I've always said if it could be me and 2 other people, I'm perfectly happy. Even if it's just me and 1 other person, I'm still happy enough.
I hear you, but maybe it would be nice to get to a point where it could be you or someone else who regularly comes that could host it.
We're working towards it. There's actually one of the guys, one of the people that show up. They have shown a little bit of interest in hosting their own night. They're a little more timid than I am when it comes to public stuff.
Sure.
It would probably be something that, I would let them run it and I would be there to help with logistics stuff maybe for the first couple times until they get comfortable.
Of course, like
actually running something.
I got a pinball every month, but if you just turned over the keys to me and say run a tournament tomorrow, I would probably need somebody who's done it before,
Yeah. So I'm hoping by the end of the year I could maybe find 2 or 3 other people and then maybe drop down to me hosting it once a month. And I would probably still show up at least 2 of the other weeks just to go play, but it would be nice to not have the responsibility of opening the place up, answering questions, mediating any things that happen. Someone just rang my doorbell and I didn't realize I had a doorbell here, so I'm just going to keep recording. Unless they ring again, then I guess I'm going to pop my head out the window. But we could probably cut this part out, whatever time it says on the
I got it on the counter.
All right. So, yeah. I also went and saw Christopher Titus in Derry, which means nothing to anyone that I just said that, so it doesn't really matter where I saw him. But
no, I know Derry.
Derry, New Hampshire, not England.
No, isn't that where?
And not Maine, not it. That's Derry, Maine.
Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind. It was in New England. It's all the same.
I mean, it pretty much is. But
you're supposed to take great offense to that. And
how dare you? The amount of shade that's thrown towards New Hampshire and towards New England is so high recently that you just kind of learn to roll with it. But yeah, it was his 11th. This is his 11th special that he's written, which is just wild. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
That's up there.
Yeah, I don't know who has the most like recorded specials, but he had said during his set that with this special that he's doing, he has done over 1,000 minutes of like produced stand-up comedy, which is
nothing to sneeze at there. Jeez.
No.
Yeah.
And he's still got it. He's always been one of my favorite comedians. I've loved him since the Titus show back on Fox, which I believe was 3 seasons and got canceled because Titus wanted to take things a little darker than Fox was willing to let him.
Did we? Week. And he got to do his actual ending and the stuff where he was asleep for 20 years or in the nut house or whatever it was. And
But yeah, so he was good. Him and his wife actually tour now, his second wife. And she opens for him at this point. She usually does about a 30-minute set, and she was really funny too. They're a really good power couple. Her name's Rachel Bradley.
Actually taping a special, or is he like this is a tour and he's workshopping the new material for the special little tape at the end of the year or whatever, Yeah.
And Rachel actually is recording her special next Saturday. So this, I think, is one of her last shows before she's recording her. I think it's her second special that she's doing. But so she was like, I'm gonna probably be throwing in some different jokes here to see what works and what doesn't. And so, obviously based on some of the different reactions, some people, she'd be like, oh yeah, all right, that's going in, or like, I'm gonna have to think of a new punchline for that one.
Do they bag your phone or anything?
No, they just asked. They said, please no video, no photos. After the show, we'll be right outside. If you want to take selfies with us or whatever, we're more than happy to do it. And I was sitting at a table right in front of the stage, so I didn't see like what was going on behind me.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I saw, like surprisingly, like I don't think anyone took their phone out, which is
great.
Which is absolutely remarkable in a setting like that.
It's just gotta suck so much as a comedian that you're on tour, you're workshopping material that you want to put in a special. Some asshole throws it up on YouTube after every single show, and then by the time the special comes out, your audience goes, this is old material.
I've already seen it.
Yes, because you can't wait, and everything gets ruined. That's why we can't have nice things, Wyatt.
Yeah. Actually, funny enough, so this set that Titus was doing Saturday was actually the culmination. He's been workshopping it for a year, and when I saw him in the same place last year, he was actually right at the beginning of putting this stuff together. So he came out the last show that we saw, and he had just a stack of papers, and he was basically going through his thing, and he'd stop and be like, crap, give me a second. And like, it's kind of fun to like, I could see some
love that
people,
type of thing.
Yeah, I could see some people being annoyed, being like, I paid this money and this guy's up here doing this or that. Myself, I really enjoyed seeing I enjoyed seeing the thought process, like seeing how the sausage is made.
It's much more interesting to see something actually come off the cuff and be from his comedic mind than necessarily going to see a produced, finished show. Yeah. They're two different things entirely.
Yeah, and even so, when the one this past weekend, he still came out with some paper, but it wasn't like the stack of papers he came out with. And he made it, I think his set was an hour. He usually does 90-minute sets, which is great.
Long,
And he made it about an hour, I think, before he walked over to the stool, and he was like, all right, he's like, you know what, shut up. He's like, I made it this long without having to look. He's like, I just know this part's really funny, and I want to make sure I get it right. So,
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you can listen to recorded Mitch Hedberg specials where he's holding a list of jokes and he's like, did I tell that one already? Like,
T-ski. What the hell is T-ski? That's one of my favorite ones. Yeah, just like, I want to go water skiing inside a lake and toss some tea bags in it. Fuck, I don't know. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I enjoy going to his shows because, well, one, I think he's hilarious, but two, seeing the people that I guess just have no idea who Christopher Titus is, and they just got tickets and don't realize that he clearly leans a certain way politically.
Yeah.
And when he goes and pokes fun at someone that may be sitting in a higher up office today, and you just see a few people just start getting red or mad or booing certain jokes. And thankfully this time there was one couple that walked out of his show when he was making some certain jokes. And it was just like, first off, how thin does your skin have to be to, like, I don't know. He also, I would say, obviously Christopher Titus leans probably much more towards the left than he does the right, but he also has no problem poking fun at everyone and the absurdity of our tribes, I guess.
Are you saying that comedy should be observational and pointing out the absurdity of human interaction in life versus taking a hardline stance and telling you what to think every minute?
No, comedy needs to be
punching down at all times and shoved in your face and force-fed, and that you're meant to just repeat sound blurbs rather than jokes, right?
Comedy is Larry the Cable Guy.
It should be anger, yeah.
Larry the Cable Guy is peak comedy.
Hey, he was
Jeff
funny back in
Foxworthy.
the day when he was on radio, I can't lie.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then last night we went to a live event here in Concord. It was called Psychology of Cults. It was run by a person named Ashlyn Hilliard. they have a background in counseling people who are leaving cults or trying to leave cults, or as she says, cult-ic situations.
Wait,
Because I
let,
get
let me slow you down there for a second. There are people that are like themselves trying to leave cults and like
absolutely.
seeking out like third party assistance. Like,
Yeah, a lot of, and there's a lot of people that leave cults that do need to find some help. And it was about a 2 hour show or so.
no doubt after the fact, like of
No, no, even
walking away, but like somebody gets on the horn with her and is like, "Hey, I'm deep in Scientology here. What do you think?" Like,
absolutely either that.
that's great.
Yeah, they, I should say, rather, they said that they've had plenty of people that are actively within cultic situations that want to get out, and they're afraid because their
Shunned by your entire
livelihoods.
circle community. Everything that you've entrenched every part of your life into is connected in some way. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's some of them have had children inside of cults, and they need to find a way to either break away from their spouse or whoever else is in there that maybe they don't want to leave. It was a really interesting couple hours. I learned quite a bit. It was kind of funny at the beginning. I don't. I'm not going to sound like I am not susceptible to ever being in a cult, and that's the number one fallacy is thinking that you're too smart to ever end up inside
Right.
something. I mean, hell, I'm a Tampa Bay Rays fan. You can't get much more cultic behavior than that because who the hell would actually want to be a fan of that team? But they came out and said, yeah, I just have a few things to ask you guys. First off, take out your cell phones, shut them off because I want everyone to be able to, enjoy the experience here, this and that, blah, 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 blah. Secondly, we will be having an intermission about an hour into the show. So please, please don't go to the bathroom for an hour because someone could be having a nice, breakthrough and we don't want it to disrupt, someone that may be learning something about themselves during this. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, so they're clearly like priming us to be like, this is what happens in cults. So
Yeah.
they'd ask, so how many people, this, that, blah, 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 blah. And, 90% of the room raised their hand. They're like, yeah, we did because you asked us to do it. And they said, well, so that's basically, you start with a small ask. And that's the same thing with cultic behavior, just something that seems very easy to say yes to. And then the next thing is, you ask for something bigger. Like I asked you all to not go to the bathroom for an hour. Yeah. And many of you were like, yeah, that seems reasonable. And it's
well, I
just
think
funny.
that's the word right there that you hit on the head. Is it all seems reasonable as you enter it, kind of thing.
And that's the thing, and that's what they had said. Everything happens.
They don't
and
start with Xenu.
No, it's a frog boil. It's the frog boiling in the pot of water. You're just turning up the heat a little bit, and then eventually you're like, I'm burning, and I don't know
once
what
you
to
get
do
to the
now.
point where you're saying, guys, this seems kind of batshit, and then you're afraid to say anything because everybody's going to bury you and dogpile the shit out of you, and then who even are you anymore when this was your identity? And good times. Speaking of cults, I was at Pinball this weekend.
I was gonna say that's about all I have to say on that, and that's a pretty good. I was gonna say the cult of pinball is a pretty good transition. So I want to know how was Pinball Expo?
It was good, man. It was really good. It was kind of weird. Well, not weird, but different this year, just because I didn't play in Flip Out, which is the main tournament. Just because it's kind of it's not kind of it's a commitment for sure, and it can run late and or start early. And I got this kid thing and that kid thing, and my wife has to go here. I'm like, you know what? I'm only going to be donating $110 to the rest of the tournament anyway. I'll just stick with I volunteered a couple shifts. Still really enjoy doing that, but then this way I'm not there till all hours of the evening trying to get in all my qualifier games and have to be in back first thing to lose in match play. So a little more of a laid back approach this year, I guess. And the whole show felt a little more laid back this year for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because international tourism or tourism in general is kind of down, but it did feel a little more sparsely attended. But I didn't go on Saturday, so I may be totally wrong there, and it may have been completely packed. I was there Wednesday night, Thursday, and Friday, um, which is fine by me because I like being there when there are less people, obviously. And Wednesday night, I just kind of used my badge to sneak onto the floor, where I showed you the stuff that I was checking out.
Amen.
Uh, yeah, so it was cool, man. It's different because I'll fully admit, living in the Chicagoland area, I am wholly spoiled for pinball. And it's like, hey, this new thing's coming out, and I can just be like, all right, I'll drive down the street and check it out because I know
Yep.
it'll be there right away because we're down the street. Um, so that stuff was kind of like, as far as new stuff from the major players, Stern has their Fall of the Empire machine. That was kind of their big booth thing. The whole booth was dressed up Star Wars, and they had a big Darth Vader and stormtroopers out there and all that stuff, and a bunch of those machines. And you'll play it soon enough, I'm sure. And
I'm sure.
it's great. Like it played really well. It's modern Stern, and it's exactly kind of what you would expect it to be. I mean, it's another Star Wars table. I don't think it'll be quite as controversial as the last one, which people seem to either love or despise. But yeah, it's good. It is what it is. Not one that would totally trip my trigger, but obviously it's going to be a big seller for them just because it's Star Wars. As far
What
as the
was
other
your favorite
guys,
homebrew that you saw?
well, I was gonna say I was getting into that. Like for me, homebrew was the show this year, and they
Yeah.
really, really made a point. Like in the past, they've always had a homebrew section, but it's kind of been tucked off in a corner. I think, like I said, like a bit of the stepchild of the show. Whereas
Hmm.
this year they actually built up like a big area around it and had like a big sign like entering the homebrew stage and area and stuff. And a lot of the stuff they were showing off on there were just blew my mind. Like production level machines, stuff that you had seen years in the past maybe is now really kind of left forward, and then new additions as well. So favorite homebrew by far was Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, you saw
Uh,
me showed me pictures of that. Looked
yeah.
really cool.
So the designer of that, just a homebrew passion project. He had previously done a Friday the 13th table that was really impressive for anybody that may have seen that. But I got the chance to kind of sneak in onto the show floor Wednesday night and go talk to him and play it. And just top to bottom, if you're a fan of the franchise, for anybody that doesn't know, it's a John Carpenter movie from the 80s, kind of sci-fi, adventure, horror, fantasy, comedy, all in one. Kurt Russell,
So good.
uh, everybody else in the world that I can't think of at the moment off the top of my head. But yeah, funny, hilarious, exciting, great act. It's just top to bottom one of my favorite movies, and like with a perfect dose of 80s cheese mixed in. And he totally understood the assignment. And if you love the movie, every single piece of this is just dripping in detail from it. And he's clearly a fan. And I think the more recent accessibility to things like 3D printing and single board computers and people just having access to the tools to program these things themselves too, it's amazing. I mean, it is amazing. Obviously, something like Big Trouble in Little China, there's tons of red tape when it comes to licensing. So the
Yeah.
fact that he could ever sell this to someone, that it could be a production, is a moonshot, I would imagine. Um, and a lot of people have used their homebrew games to kind of get their foot into the industry,
Yeah, show what they can do and then
show
get,
what they can
latched
do.
on with someone.
Yeah, there's a Sonic Spinball table there, who I believe the designer of that game kind of used it as a resume to get into American pinball. That company's kind of on the way out now. That's a whole nother story, due to some very poor leadership decisions on their part. But yeah, so I think from what he had said with Big Trouble in Little China is, if something comes of it, great, I imagine. But he's just in it for love of the game, and here's 2 years of a passion project for him, and he wants to, share it with people that both love pinball and love the movie. And he said it's his favorite movie, and it was kind of like his dream license. And I can't believe how well it translates. And when I say it was production quality, like the animations up on the screen, all the program, it was done. Everything was done. They had amazing modes that you could do, where the guy, the sorcerer, would you hit something and he would all of a sudden put a curse on you. So now your flippers are flipped, and left
Oh,
is right
really?
and right is
That's
left. Yeah,
really cool.
all sorts of neat little stuff like that is really cool. And he'll put a curse on you to lower your score by 1,000,000 points if you don't hit this target in time, kind of thing.
Almost like
So
a reverse
very,
hurry up.
yeah, exactly. And so very interactive. And even though it was the first and only time I've played it, like it was really easy to actually follow along with what the table wants you to do, which is not always the case in a lot of modern tables. Harry Potter comes to mind for sure. Um, so yeah, stuff like that. That whole homebrew section was amazing. I sent you the pictures. There was a Mad Max Fury Road
That looked really
homebrew
cool.
that was incredible. Had like the whole huge truck diesel exhaust coming out of the top of the cab. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was there again. Unfortunately, it was looking a little worse for wear from last year. I think it's been on tour and
Getting a lot of use.
been well loved. Yeah. So unfortunately, every time I went to go play it, it seemed to be down for a different reason. Kind of is what it is. These things are so finicky. But what else? Oh, there was a Cuphead machine that was kind of a combination between a physical and a virtual that was really cool. So the whole back glass was one single screen, and then there was a real play field up front. There was a finished Pokemon machine that was pretty much production level quality too. That was amazing. There were prototype Contra and Legend of Zelda machines. There was a Monsters Inc. machine. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And a lot of movement towards the combination of virtual pinball, but with either a pedestal or kind of just like a chopped down table in front of you. So you're kind of still sitting there with your hands on a physical button, but everything you're seeing is through the headset. I saw a lot more of that happening. There was a company with X Arcade actually selling those, and then there was another group doing kind of the homebrew variant of it. What else was? Oh, there was a game called Mutant League Hockey that was really cool. I don't know if you see that in my pictures or not, but it was.
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
It's
Obviously based off the
basically
Mutant League video games.
yeah, I would think so, but it's kind of like a pinball joust if you've ever seen that, where it's a two-player game, so you have a person on either side, and
I've not
imagine
seen that.
almost like a combination between air hockey and pinball, if you
Yep.
can imagine. So you're trying to score on the other guy's goal, and he you or they you. And that was super fun. I've seen that in years past, but that's really, really come together. I think that they're probably maybe trying to sell that at some point as kind of a home, game room basement type of thing. But
That would be really cool.
It would be, and it doesn't look like it would be too terribly expensive, at least compared to $10,000 to $12,000. But I don't want to speak out of turn because maybe it is. What else was there? I'm just trying to think of the big boys. Jersey
Blues
Jack
Brothers?
was there. Jersey Jack was there showing off Harry Potter, obviously, and Avatar, Elton John, all that stuff. Pinball Brothers was there showing off the new Predator, which I actually didn't get a chance to play because the lines were pretty long the whole time. Portal from Multimorphic, got to check that out. That is a huge step in the right direction compared to the tables that I played from them before with Weird Al and Princess Bride. I appreciated what they were doing, but I didn't think it was quite there yet. And for anybody that doesn't know, Multimorphic are a pinball company that basically sell modular pinball tables. You buy the one table, and the entire playfield, or at least part of it, is a video screen. So it ends up interacting digitally with the ball in some ways, but then there are actual kits that you transfer into the table with different ramps or what have yous to change the game. So you can actually own one table and swap the parts to now it's Weird Al pinball, now it's Princess Bride pinball, and now most recently it's Portal pinball, where apparently they heard a lot of feedback from the audience and said, it's good, but we want more of the physical playfield stuff, and they really upped that in this one, and I think it shows immensely through how much just it feels a lot more like a real table versus a compromise.
Yep.
If that makes any sense. That's probably, I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch of stuff, but those are the highlights for Nick, unless you saw anything else that caught your eye anywhere.
Yeah, did you? I'm sorry if you had mentioned it. I was
No,
looking at the
no.
pictures as you were talking. Did you get a chance to try out? Looks like Steamboat Willie.
Again, that was down.
It was that's too bad. It's
Unfortunately,
really
yeah,
interesting.
that was really cool too. So I would have liked to gotten a better look at how it works. So yeah, so it was a Steamboat Willie machine, which is now license free because it's in the
Yep,
it's publicly
public
owned now,
domain.
right? Public domain, yeah. So it was an all black and white play field, all black and white graphics and everything. But instead of flipper controls, you actually had a steamboat
It's the
wheel
wheel, right? Is it
on
almost
the
like
front
those
of the
old?
machine. I would assume it's if you tip it up on one
It's like
side.
those labyrinth games where you like turn something, you try to move the ball, or is
I
it?
would assume no. I think those actually controlled flippers in some way because
Oh,
it was a normal tilted play field. It wasn't flat, I don't think. But having said that, I may have just glanced over it because it was not operational at the time.
right.
But the wheel was like free moving, so if you walked up to it and spun it, it's gonna keep spinning. Like it's not like it just locked into two
Hmm.
slightly movable
Yeah.
positions. Um, so yeah, if there was video of anybody playing it over the weekend or anything, I'll have to look. And because I was very curious about it, and definitely just snapped a few pics, but it was not up and running at the time.
I'm trying to look at the little instructions from one of the pictures you sent. Yeah, it's a really interesting looking playfield.
Yeah, I mean these homebrew guys, unfortunately, it's they don't have the resources that
Yeah,
of let me go grab that part because this just broke from somebody being too rough with my table. They're just in them every other person a lot of the times. Unfortunately, they're just having to open it up and let me fix that real quick, and so they do go down just because they're built in basements and garages kind of thing.
I will say I'm disappointed that you weren't able to try Who Shot Mr. Burns, which I guess
It
was supposed to
was
have been
yeah.
there, but it's been touring everywhere, so it's understandable that something either happened to it or it's down and
Like I said, I wasn't there on Saturday, so it's entirely possible that it did make it. I had seen going into the show a post that said we will be at Pinball Expo, but that was kind of one of the first things that I scoured the floor for
Yep.
and wasn't able to find. But happy accident, it led me directly to Big Trouble in Little China, so it was a win.
So how many years have you been going to Pinball Expo? I assume since you
Since I
moved to
moved to
Chicago,
Chicago,
or
yeah. So this is my third.
all right, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
yeah,
Joe,
we'll have
so
to
does
get
that
you
mean
out for
Joe came
one
with you
year.
to the first one? Or was that last year that Joe came?
That was my first year. So yeah,
That's cool.
because they had another trip that had fallen through, and I just randomly said, you know, hey,
Come
this
hang
is
out with
going on
me.
this this going on this weekend. They went, oh, cool, yeah, that worked out. But I'd say that's probably your highlights there. And from there,
How'd you do in the tournament?
I didn't play in the main tournament, but
Well,
I also did.
the oh, you didn't
Okay,
play in the
so
other one either?
I screwed the pooch on this one so badly, man. All right, so on Tuesday night was the Interium tournament, which
Yep.
replaced my normal first Tuesday Interium tournament. So the pre-expo tournament was Tuesday. I mistakenly bought tickets to Wednesday, which was the bumper blast at Interium, which was just a party where you got like they was rented out the whole place, and
Yep.
you got like a 3-hour game card and like a buffet just for Pin Expo people that had tickets to this. And while that was fine and all, like I can go there anytime.
Right. It
And
wasn't anything special for you.
it was like Caesar salad and shitty pasta on the buffet kind of thing. Like, so yeah, it was very wedding food. So while it was, it was cool and I got to, stand around and talk to a lot of people that I've kind of become acquaintances with, that part was fun. It was 3 deep at every pinball machine. So hoping to play anything was kind of out the door. But then you have people coming in from all over that don't ever get to see a lot of
Right.
these machines. So, I'm more than happy to just be like, yeah, let them have a turn kind of thing.
Yeah, you get to enjoy it all year long. So
Right, that's my. I was like, I can just come next week on Monday if I wanted to and play these things to my heart's content. I'm spoiled, so yeah. It's had I known that it wasn't a tournament, I probably wouldn't have spent $40 on the ticket. But whatever, it was still fun. But next year I'll know for sure. And which takes us along. I'm just looking. Speaking of games and pinball, do we have Backlog Brothers to head into here?
Yeah, I
If
think
you want
we
to do that now,
It looks like, yeah, we're about 45 minutes in. It's probably a good spot to poke into. So why don't we start with you with
okay.
Deadly Retreat?
Yes. So I was given a movie last week by Wyatt, and this was my homework. And because it is spooky season, he gave me something of a spooky movie called Deadly Retreat. Where did you find this, by the way?
Oh,
How did this end up on your radar?
I honestly cannot remember. I think I found it along with something else where it was just like, you watched this movie, why don't you check out this movie? And I was like, yeah, you know what? Screw it. Let's add this in here. I don't, it was no big budget thing. It was no, like,
Oh, was it not a big budget thing? Really?
Don't you talk trash. It was clearly a very...
Okay. As a fan of low budget horror and things being put together with sticks and glue, they kind of just didn't do that whole part. So that kind of sucked. All right. So this is a 49-minute movie.
Yeah, it's a sub-hour movie. I think it's 47 minutes or something.
Which is impressive because it still felt longer than that. You know what? It has redeeming features. Like, a lot of the dialogue was actually pretty fun, and at times pretty funny actually too. But like the whole horror part almost seemed like something of an afterthought.
Like they may have realized after that, hey, we want to put this into a film festival for horror movies, so let's tack something in here.
I don't know. And like, the ending is a twist that you absolutely see coming the entire time, and then the character...
So is it really a twist then?
I don't know, but then they offer like their reasoning or their motivation for the whole thing, and it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And it's like, what about the other couple that was also killed? They're like, well, they're guilty by association. Of what? Like, guilty of what? You invited them and then killed them. Dude. All right, so yeah, not your finest recommendation. Oh,
Wasn't
yeah,
meant to be.
Getting back to that, like, it's a cheap, low-budget horror movie, and when someone got done in by getting stabbed in the neck or run over by a car or killed and buried in the woods or whatever, it just cuts away. It didn't even bother like trying to like throw like a bucket of blood or anything. It was just like, yep, so that happens. And it felt like a student picture kind of thing, like a student film project. And I think it very well may have been. But they also, like, if you're going to do that, go the Evil Dead route and go over the top and make it more ridiculous kind of thing. Because if you're going to offer no motivation for your characters just doing these things, randomly killing people, I'm going to spoil this movie because, yeah, you're not going to watch it.
Anyone's going to watch this.
No one's going to watch this thing. Yeah. Give me something to laugh at, to have fun with. I love schlocky bad horror that's terrible, that I can be like, this is amazing. Unfortunately, that wasn't there, so I was just kind of left with meh.
I'd just like to point out that this is supposed to be a horror comedy.
I mean, there were a couple parts early on that made me laugh. Like I said, there was amusing like pieces of dialogue, but the character motivations make no sense. I did like the fact that they ripped it directly from Cabin in the Woods. Like, directly from Cabin in the Woods. It's like, okay, what are we doing? We're all going on a couple's trip to a cabin in the woods. Fair enough. Normal horror stuff. Where we also stop at a gas station when we're almost there and a weird guy comes out and warns us not to go there and that people go and never come back. And then things start going wrong. Like, it was amusing. And my wife asked where the hell I found this movie and said, please make sure to thank Wyatt for me.
I just want to point out that 51% of the Letterboxd reviews are half a star. So
Ha- uh, Having said that, I did try and watch that movie, The Wood Chipper Massacre, I think
yep.
2 weeks prior to this, that looked like it was actually filmed on a 1992 camcorder, but trying to be serious about it. And that was totally unwatchable in even the best way, because it was like watching your dad with a handy cam, like jumping around all over the place. So it was much better than that. I mean, at least like the shots and stuff were competent, and like I can say that. Um,
I, I'll be honest. As I said, they're not all bangers, and I'm not always going to assign you something that.
well, it made for
I didn't know you were going to
amusing.
watch it with your wife, so that makes it even better. So
Oh yeah, well, so it's spooky season, man. So it's just back and forth, Friday, Saturday nights. My horror pick, her horror pick. My horror pick, her horror pick. And yeah,
do
I
you
just
lose a
happened
horror pick for picking that one now?
to. No, I will tell you though, if I may, and you may get turned around and assign this in coming weeks. We did watch a movie the following night that was actually excellent, called where did I write it down and now forgot? The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So legit scary movie. Like we've been watching a lot of horror comedy and schlocky 80s slasher stuff. Yeah. Um, but this came out, I think it was 2023. Jane Doe. Let's see. But it had Brian Cox and Emil Hirsch. When was the last time you saw Emil
Wow.
Hirsch around?
Yeah.
He was great at it. And it was like straight up horror. No, never. I said 2023. 2016. Supernatural horror film directed by Andre Orvdahl in his first English language film.
Hmm.
Stars Brian Cox and Emil Hirsch as father and son coroners who experience supernatural phenomena while examining the body of an unidentified woman. That'll give you the premise. That's about the slim skinny of it. Yeah, came out in 2016. And a Toronto Film Festival, grossed a total of $6 million. That's probably why you haven't heard of it.
I'll do it.
Really good though. If you don't watch it yourself, I might assign it to you, because that's a worthy addition to your lineup for spooky season. Let's 86 on Rotten Tomatoes. And I really enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, I'll add that to my list. I don't even know if you have to assign that to me. We're getting really close to spooky night, so
Yeah, we have 11,
to...
11 days left. I need to start checking off my actual Halloween repeat viewings kind of thing. We haven't done The Thing yet this year. We haven't done Nightmare on Elm Street. We still got House of a Thousand Corpses to go.
Have you seen, and this, we'd still have time that I could assign it to you, but I'm just curious to see if you've seen
Yeah, you're
it.
fine.
Have you seen the movie called The House That Jack Built?
I know the Metallica song.
With Matt Dillon.
No.
That is one of the most messed up movies I think I have ever seen. It's the story, it stars Matt Dillon, and it goes through, I think, like 5 chapters of his life and showing how he became a serial killer, like from his first kill to the one that did this to this. And it's it's fairly gory, and it's a really like messed up psychological.
Like Hills Have Eyes messed up, or like more Silence of the Lambs psychological messed up?
I'd say more Silence of the Lambs, like more like, wow, there's probably people out there that are doing this right now, kind of messed up.
So actual disturbing, yeah.
Yeah. I think back in the day, when Netflix still did the DVD rentals and Blu-ray rentals, Caitlin used to, I think she had like a two DVD at a time plan or whatever. So she would just add stuff that came out to a plan, and like, this is what we're watching this weekend. And it was actually a really, like, it beats scrolling through Plex or Hulu or Netflix and going, what are we going to watch?
It does for 2 reasons, and I'll tell you why. Choice paralysis that we often talk about, because you're not in a position to say, I checked out the first 5 minutes and I'm not feeling it. Let's
Yeah.
continue scrolling through the entire library. No, there's a disc, and that is your choice, and you are, playing the hand you're dealt. Damn it! And I like physical media about that. And I can't remember what my other point about it was.
I like the first point though, so that
Yeah.
that works. But yeah, we've watched off the top of my head. I can't think of another example to throw out, but there's been a number of movies I don't think either of us ever would have watched if she didn't just. And the thing is, like, she just added it to her Netflix queue, and then she just randomly adds stuff, and
they show up when they show up, kind of thing. I like that.
So you have no idea what's going to show up, and then you grab it out of the mail, and you're like, "Ooh, all right, I guess we're watching The House That Jack Built." And then we watched The House That Jack Built, and I was like, "Huh, well."
I'm different now.
Yeah, I see the world differently now, and I don't think in a positive light.
Oh god. So moving away from that high note, I guess we should get into what your assignment was for the week.
Yes. So,
But before we do that, I've got a really small bladder, so here comes a commercial break.
Ooh, Devereaux.
Devereaux wigs.
Ooh, Devereaux.
Devereaux wigs.
Ooh, Devereaux.
Devereaux wigs. We guarantee our wigs aren't made from hair off dead bodies.
Ooh, Devereaux. From Rhonda Devereaux.
And we're back. Sorry about that. Had to dispose of a 22-ounce bomber bottle. And what we were saying was I assigned Wyatt homework last week too. This week he had a game, which was...
it was Inside. I'm trying to remember who the developer is. Play Dead. Play Dead. They also came out
Limbo.
with Limbo, which I believe came out in 2010. Inside came out in 2016. It's basically a spiritual sequel to Limbo. Same exact play style, which if you're unfamiliar, it's a puzzle platformer, I think would probably be how it would be best described.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no combat. You are basically, you play, I'd say at this point I'm about 65% through the game, and I probably will end up finishing it tonight or tomorrow. But
no combat, but both can be quite violent, if I recall correctly.
Yes, it is a very violent game in the sense that if you make a mistake, you play what I would guess is a 11, 12-year-old child is my guess based on, the size of the character you're playing.
Oh, you're a young boy in both of
yes.
them. Yeah.
You're a young boy. The beginning of the game starts off with you're in the woods and you see these people putting what looks like a bunch of adults into the back of a box truck and closing the door and driving away. And that's the only exposition you get for to start.
I recall that as you're kind of moving through the early screens, there's just like a parade of people single file marching, in a very ominous manner.
Yeah, a very dystopian view of what is happening. I don't know exactly what happens yet, obviously, because I haven't made it until the end. I can make very educated guesses to what's happening. But you play as a small child, like I said, maybe between 10 and 12, and you're trying to evade people, dogs, things that are trying to find you. And when they find you, they just kill you. They don't capture you. They don't, you die, and the game will restart at a checkpoint. The checkpoints are super plentiful in the game. So just like Limbo, it's essentially a long series of puzzles to figure out, how do I climb up onto this thing? Okay, well, I need to go grab this box and move it to this thing to pull this lever, which makes it so I can jump on this thing and climb up here. So you do that, game gives you a checkpoint. You die, it takes you right back to the beginning of that. And from what it looks like, there's probably a series of, I'm going to say 50 different puzzles, and between that you're walking to the next location. So
yeah, it's not really it's not screen by screen.
No,
as it is seamless, but it's kind of of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell, like, okay, I've moved on from this puzzle to the next puzzle. Or, like, you will walk through an area and you'll see the foreground go over you and basically transport you. And there's no loading screens or anything. So, I mean, I guess that would technically be your loading screen, as we see in a lot of, modern games, is you're sneaking between a wall and it's like, this game is seamless. And you walk through a, 500-foot, crawl space. It's like, wow, there's nothing going on here.
Yeah, the old Symphony of the Night loading room, wasn't it? Yeah,
exactly. But unsurprising to me, and probably to anyone that knows me, I love the game. I absolutely loved Limbo. I'm surprised I never played Inside. It was just one of those things that never happened.
But it's been sitting in your library the whole time since then, kind of thing.
Yep, and stupidly enough, even though I have it on Steam, I bought it on Switch because it was on sale for 90% off for under $2, and I was like, you know what?
Oh,
I want to see.
Yeah.
At that point, why not? And being part of a Nintendo family plan now, the nice thing is,
do I get it on Switch now?
You have it on Switch. I can let you borrow it for up to 14 days at a time.
Why,
anyone on the family plan.
He's my family member now. He made it official.
And the nice thing, I will, and I'm sure Nintendo will back out on it, because we can have a nice little talk about how Nintendo does dumb things. Nintendo shoots itself in the foot.
Yeah.
But with this, at least, Nintendo even says in like the FAQs or whatever for the Nintendo family plan, it was like, share it with your friends. Like, they don't expect you to be living in the same household, unlike, Steam or Xbox or PlayStation, that are all like, if you're going to be doing this sharing, it needs to be someone that is in the same address as you. Yeah. Nintendo is like, just add up to 8 of your friends and you guys can game share and you can do this and that.
Well, it feels like there's always like a grace period where they introduce the service and then they'll take it away at a later time.
Yes, is what I expect in, the next couple of years or so. I mean, Netflix, Amazon, everything, Spotify, it's always been, I think at one point Netflix had a big thing. I think it was an old Twitter post around Valentine's Day. It was something like, love is sharing your Netflix password. Yeah. And then, a couple years later, they're like, you're not allowed to share passwords or accounts anymore.
Yeah. Oh, they had the president of the company coming on record in interviews saying, I don't care about password sharing. And that tune changed very quickly.
Yeah. Guess who cared? These shareholders.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Play Dead, going back to that. You mentioned the studio. They've
never made anything. They've made nothing else. They've made those 2 games.
Yeah, it looks like they just had like a little preview image that says coming soon. Join us on our next project. And it looks like it has some guy standing on a barren landscape with some sort of like Mars rover behind him. And it just says, join us on our next project. And if you click the link, it links you to their jobs page. So obviously they're working on something.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at that right now. Yeah, here's hoping. I wonder when this was. Are these current?
It certainly looks like it. They
are hiring
a
3D environmental artist.
But they are all in Copenhagen, so there is that.
I'm willing to move, man.
I'll go to Denmark.
That's really cool. Yeah, so it Limbo came out in 2010. Inside came out in 2016. So I mean, we're 3 years behind if we're going on a 6-year schedule. But we can toss some COVID in there.
I'm not familiar enough to know, but they must have been small team passion projects of some sort, kind of thing.
I think Limbo absolutely was. I have no reason to believe that Inside was any different, because it's Limbo, except they added the color red. I think
and it was 6 years later, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's a serious development cycle for a game that's 6 hours long.
3 to 4. I think.
There you go. Yeah,
I think I've put about an hour and a half in, and I'm a little over halfway done. I was kind of hoping I was gonna be able to make it through the whole game without dying, but I made it
without dying. Oh man.
Yeah, I made it about 40% in, and then I accidentally died, and then I've hit a lot more walls since then. So
there were parts in Limbo and Inside that I can recall specifically where I died on purpose just because I wanted to see what would happen if that thing killed me.
What's the death animation look like?
Yeah, exactly.
Actually,
giant buzzsaw. Yes, I will walk in front of this.
According to, and believe whatever you want from, Wikipedia or whatever, but supposedly they have a little over 100 employees right now, which is still a fairly small outfit. But for only 2 games, it's kind of
Well, what I was going to say was it's been however long since Inside have they actually started ramping up an entire studio and dev team for this next project kind of thing with 100 people. They're getting a little more ambitious after two huge, because they were massively successful the last two games, at least from a critical and award standpoint. I would assume they both sold very well.
They both are multi-award winning games. A quick Reddit post says that Play Dead announced their new game as being it's going to run on Unreal Engine 5, and it's going to be a sci-fi third-person 3D open-world game set in a remote corner of the universe.
That's certainly what it looks like. And yeah, so very ambitious then. They're going the full Hello Games Joe Danger to No Man's Sky jump pretty much.
Yeah. Let's hope that they nail it the first time out instead of
maybe just
make up for it.
Yeah, maybe just push release if it's not quite ready.
But yeah, so this is a game that these are the games that I enjoy being assigned, in the sense that like a 3 to 10 hour game, something that I can, check something off. I enjoy the epics. I enjoy Expedition 33. Sea of Stars isn't really an epic because I think that was like 15 to 20, but it was still a longer,
that was
style
the
game.
perfect length to me. Honestly.
I need to go back and play the DLC, the Tower of the Watchmaker.
We need to go back and play it together, don't we?
Yeah, it's co-op now.
Yeah,
it's actually 3-player, I believe.
Wow.
But yeah, so let's hop into our assignments, and then I have one other thing I want to talk about before we part ways. Maybe a couple things, who knows? But do you want me to assign you yours first?
Yeah, go ahead. Because I get a game this week, right? So we'll stay on the subject of video gaming.
All right, so I have one of two things for you, and this is dependent on whether or not you've played the first game. I don't see the first game in your backlog, so it either means that you have already played it or you don't have it, but it's a game that's been out for probably over 15 years at this point, so you either have it tucked away somewhere or you could very easily access it.
Yeah.
Have you ever played Alan Wake?
Yes.
Okay.
I played it when it came out in like...
Me too. 2010,
college?
I think.
No, is it that old? Yeah, 2000. I thought it was older than that even.
No, it might have been 2007 or 2008. I remember picking it up on Xbox 360 from Best Buy, I think the summer I was in college. I knew nothing about the game. I never read anything. I walked into Best Buy. I looked at the back of it, and I was like, this seems kind of cool. I'm just going to pick this up. I think I had like a gift card from like birthday or something. So it was like, it's fake money. So if I don't like it, oh well. Yeah. And I remember being absolutely freaking blown away by that game.
It was the first game that I can recall really doing something different with presentation and storytelling.
Yes.
And it was so wholly original at the time that they basically presented the story like a weekly episodic TV show.
It was, and this is before I ever had seen Twin Peaks. This was Twin Peaks, the video game.
It
was set up for sure. Yeah, it was set up as an episodic, so like you would go through a chapter of the game, and then it would be like previously on Alan Wake, and you'd have like you would have actual video playing. I believe in the first one there'd be some video of like real people reenacting stuff, and then there would also be the in-game engine of like this is what happened to Alan, and then he saw these things, and coming up. And I just remember being so blown away just by it fits perfectly with spooky season. Just you're in this Twin Peaks-esque area. Alan Wake is a writer who's working on his upcoming novel. He rents a cabin that's on a lake, and I cannot remember. I think in Night Springs, I think. And I think that's right.
That was a bit of a Cape Fear angle there too, wasn't it?
Yep. So it's a lot like Twin Peaks mixed with Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone is the other thing I would say that it absolutely kind of plays off of.
Oh, it draws from that in a presentation, no doubt. But I can't remember, and you'll have to remind me, if it was just very light on guns or if there were actually no guns in the game. Because I remember you would actually take on the demons with your flashlight, and it burns them, right?
Yeah, there were guns in the game. It was almost a Resident Evil-esque in the sense that like ammo wasn't plentiful. You
Right,
needed
you're
to
constantly
say,
on
the
on the edge
your
of running out.
flashlight was your main weapon, and even that, which at the time I thought it was funny, and I think it's still funny now. I don't know if they changed it since, because Alan Wake, the original game, has been either I think remastered, remade.
It
I
was
can't
remastered,
remember.
yeah.
Was it just a
Yeah.
remaster?
Oh
Okay.
God, I can never. I don't think it was a full remake treatment.
I don't
and
either. I think
they
it was
may
Alan
have
Wake
put the
remastered.
first game into the second one's engine at some point. I cannot recall.
Anyway, with the original Xbox 360 one, the batteries you find, I believe, are Duracell batteries, which I just found kind of funny that Duracell had. I want to say it was Duracell had like the sponsorship or
God, was
whatever
that
for.
Wasn't there something with the game where you had to like shake the controller in order to move the batteries around in the flashlight, or was it the thumb pad or something to like? Or maybe it was I played it on PC and you had to like shake the mouse around a little bit, like kind of like you were bashing an old battery flashlight to get it to come back on.
I think so. That
We're talking about 15 to 20 years ago now. So.
Yeah, which makes me think that that wasn't a thing, and maybe we're conflating with a different game, but that
Yeah,
does
it's entirely
sound
possible.
familiar. Yeah, but anyway, so not to go more into Alan Wake, but if anyone listening hasn't played Alan Wake, I 100% recommend Alan Wake, and
Seconded.
I haven't played Alan Wake 2 yet, which I have, and at some point I really need to play that. Have you played any of the other? I think Remedy is the name of the. Yeah, Remedy
So they're the
Entertainment.
studio that did
Quantum Break. They did
yes.
Control.
Yes.
They did Alan Wake 2, obviously.
Yeah. So no, to answer your question, I played Quantum Break.
Okay. So
because I really liked the presentation idea of that as well, because it was essentially video games / TV drama.
Yep, it was the same thing as almost Alan Wake in the sense that like you have recaps. There'd be like it was a TV show based,
Yeah, but like with some really, it had a couple different people from The Wire were in it, and like it was good acting. It was actually fun to watch, but I can understand where a lot of people don't want to sit down to a video game and then watch 40 minutes of a television show.
Yeah. But all of these games, so Alan Wake 2, Control, Quantum Break, they're all set in the same universe too. So like,
I did not know that.
Yep. So in Quantum Break, I believe at the beginning of Quantum Break, you end up going to, I think, a college campus or something, and you're either looking for someone, and you go into a tent with some protesters or something, and if you look on the TV that's in the background, it's playing
the show that's in Alan Wake or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's playing that, and then there's also something that's like teasing Alan Wake 2, even though Alan Wake 2 didn't come out for like another 10 years after that. So there's just there's characters that, come into like different like it all takes place in the same universe, which I always enjoy a good,
Easter
tie
egg.
together.
Yeah.
So anyway, 20 minutes into this, let me now assign you your game. So it's not Alan Wake 2 because I didn't see that on your playlist.
I don't own that.
Yeah, exactly. So you had Alan Wake's American Nightmare, which was very disappointing for a lot of people because this was everyone thought that there was going to be an Alan Wake 2 after Alan Wake came out because it was so loved and everything, and Remedy never really said anything. And Alan Wake's American Nightmare was announced, which people were first disappointed because it was announced as an Xbox Live Arcade game. So they were like, oh crap, it's just a downloadable only title. This is what Alan Wake 2 is going to be. It's not Alan Wake. It is, but it's not the, like, you have a little flashlight and you have the resource management. You only have like 20 bullets or so. This is like
action cousin.
Yes.
Because the only thing I recall about this game is a print ad where he's in daylight instead of total darkness and holding a nail gun. Am I right in remembering that?
Yeah. Yeah. He has a nail gun. He has a few other different items that he uses as weapons. And it's basically more or less a kind of like a horde style game. You're trying to defend yourself. You're racking up scores. If you get style kills or you kill, a certain number of characters in a small amount of time, you get a bonus towards your points and stuff.
Oh, so really different take on the formula then.
Yes, which is why it was very not liked. I mean, I guess these days I'm looking at ratings right now. It's like a mid-tier game is what people are saying at this point, but I remember when it first came out, like everyone was just so mad that it wasn't Alan Wake
yeah,
2.
people wanted Diablo 4 and they got a mobile game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that is going to be, I don't know what you have it on. I'm going to assume you have it on Steam because it's one of those games that...
I believe it was one of the first Steam titles I ever got, actually, if I'm remembering this correctly. And it was one of those deals where it like came for free with a video card or something like that.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Like,
But
I think it was like Alan Wake's American Nightmare and Dirt 2 or something like that came with an old GeForce. God only knows how far back we're going.
So that's what we're gonna have you play this
I'm
week.
into it,
Alan
man.
Wake's American Nightmare.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited actually. So
Kind of
cool.
speaking to the horror, scary spooky season.
Yeah, I
So
feel
it's-
like that game probably would translate to streaming to a decent handheld pretty well.
I would imagine. I mean, yeah. I assume it's Steam Deck capable. I assume you can put it on a handheld. Like it's not a game.
Oh yeah,
that's
I'm
really
forgetting
gonna
I even had the deck too. I could just do that. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, we all are.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm into it, man. Excellent. Another fun week. And thus, you will have something to watch. Hopefully
you're
that you'll enjoy slightly more than my previous homework.
I was gonna say, are you gonna punish me because of what I just gave you?
I'm not angry at Deadly Retreat. I'm not. I actually, it's definitely something I wouldn't have found on my own. I can say that. But yeah, I've seen it. I don't know that I'll be in a rush to go watch it again, but I'm not mad at it. And I think, yeah, like I said before, if you view it as what it is, which is some sort of student film or amateur level production, you can treat it with much softer gloves, I think. But that will bring us to your movie that I'm going to have you watch this week. And I'm breaking away because we'll be back next week. So I'm breaking away from spooky season for the week because I've been kind of laying that on thick and well ahead of time. So I saw this, I don't know what made me think of it, whether it was just up on my Plex screen or what, but I have been basically bugging the guys, John and Ian from Extra Napkins, to try and give this a watch for one of their Patreon reviews forever now, just because it's a movie I love, and I think all of you guys would really love it too, when it comes to just topics of food, restaurant industry, cooking, working the line, personalities of the people that do so and inhabit such places, and a little weird life philosophy from something of a scumbag genius.
Waiting?
Not Waiting. No. This is actually aged probably better than Waiting has. No, so this is a documentary from 2004.
All right.
And rocking a 95% on the RT. I Like Killing Flies is what it's called.
I have seen that movie poster so many times. So
Because of me. Because of me!
Probably.
It's saying, you guys should watch this. And so I Like Killing Flies is a 2004 documentary film produced, directed, and filmed by one guy. I think this may have been a student project for him. And it is a year in the life of Kenny Shopson and his family, who owned a Greenwich Village kind of institution that had been there for 30 plus years called Shopson's. And he was famously prickly, would famously gladly throw people out on the regular, but also had like a ridiculously huge menu and incredibly loyal customer base and really good food, apparently. And throughout the whole thing, he's kind of describing what he considers to be, or he calls his half-baked philosophy, or half-baked philosophies. And it goes from like the most asinine stuff all the way up to what he thinks is like basically how humans should interact and be, and his entire philosophy on life. But all coming out of a very old school New York kind of guy and gruff and hilarious and swears like a sailor and all this good stuff. All while interacting with a living, breathing restaurant going on around him. So I think you'd be hard pressed not to like this. It's a quick watch. It's like barely over an hour. Anybody that's listening and wants to check it out, I believe it's still on YouTube somewhere. Be that legally or not, but the whole thing was up there. I'm looking right now. I just typed it in, and it's on. The full thing is on Bilibili, which is Chinese YouTube. So it's out there if you wanted to see it. I guarantee it's on one of the free services like Tubi or something like that. It's just one of those kinds of movies. I had found it on Netflix years and years ago whenever it popped up there, and have probably watched it, I don't know, 10 times in the 10 years since. It's one of those comfort watches that I go back into when I don't know what to put on late at night and end up finding some new little fun nugget of a quote that comes out of this guy's mouth. So, yeah, I don't think I've sold it as anything differently. I may have overhyped it too much at this point. But I'd be very interested to see what your takeaways from the whole thing are.
Yeah, I got a couple quick things to add because as you were talking about it, I was doing some quick research on it.
Yeah, sure.
So first off, sad news. Kenny Shopson died in 2018.
Yes, he did die a few years ago, and this actually goes through them having to relocate from their forever place to a new location. And then they had actually moved a few times in the time since the documentary as well before he had died.
Well, that's sad. Secondly, he has a cookbook that I think I might have to pick up, mostly because the first excerpt that's written on this page is, and I quote, "Pancakes are a luxury, like smoking marijuana or having sex. That's why I came up with the names hoe cakes and slutty cakes. These are extra decadent, but in a way, every pancake is a hoe cake."
Yep. Okay, so then you've absolutely tapped into exactly what you're going to be in store for. That's essentially the entire film is him explaining things and the way he thinks about them like that. And it's pretty amusing. But yeah, he talks about how he ended up like accidentally inventing mac and cheese pancakes for a kid. And it goes into all this like weird out there kind of fusion stuff. And uses some descriptors that are probably not even appropriate for this show to describe fusion cooking that you'll probably be amused by, but I'll let you check it out. It's well worth a watch. I think you'll enjoy it. I don't know if you have any background in your younger years in the restaurant biz outside of obviously you ran a food business.
Yeah, I worked at a pizza. My first job was actually at a pizza place. Which,
okay, cool.
That we can do a whole
I'd love to get into that someday. I think everybody would love to hear about why it's time in the pizza industry. Well, we could just do a restaurant biz background episode. But yeah, so that is your assignment. I am very excited to hear what you think of it because it's probably one of my favorite food related movies, productions, what have you, ever. And I very much enjoy all of his philosophies, which I'll give you a sneak preview. He believes that all people should believe that they themselves are pieces of shit, and it works out a lot better for everyone.
Yeah, you know what?
So I'll leave you to that, and well, it goes a lot deeper than that, but I'll be curious to hear your reaction of that whole explanation as well.
Yeah, I think I'm also just going to I'm going to kind of look at some thrift bookshops here online and see if I can find a copy of his cookbook.
You know, I knew that it existed when you mentioned it, but I have to read it because, yeah, forget just the recipes. That's going to be one of those good cookbooks that you actually want to just sit down and read, I would imagine.
From the small review I'm looking at right now, that's basically, it's a 900 plus... He put together his 900 plus item menu with his unique philosophy, his rants on everything from how the customer is not always right to the art of griddling, from how to run a small, ethical, and humane business to how we should all learn to cook in a good night moon world where everything you need is already in your home and head. Like that. Yeah,
there you go.
All right, that's awesome. So before we go, we started last week with our of the week. But again, for anyone that's not familiar, Mort Krim, super famous, I assume, newscaster from the Detroit area. There we go. In the show Detroiters, which has obviously heavily influenced both our, I guess, senses of humor and our friendship here, we figured it was a fun way to kind of call out the things that
Grind
annoy
our
us.
gears at the moment.
Yeah. People that make us think that they are chumps. And as we were talking before recording, I had asked Nick if he had anything, like any ideas of who his chump of the week would be, and he very quickly came up with who his nominee is. So I will let you take it away, Nick.
Well, I think I said that there was some hoopla in the media regarding some Miyamoto quotes about movies and video games with Nintendo, which definitely appeared to be somewhat sensationalized once I read the whole thing. But that, I don't know if that's directly what you're referring to, but what it made me think of immediately was I was in Walmart over the weekend and saw the new Street Fighter amiibos out.
Yes,
for
that's what.
$40 each. What the hell, Nintendo? Where do you get the balls? They are little pieces of plastic with a near-field communicator sliver in them. Like, it's molded plastic. $40 for an amiibo. I hate to be the old man shaking his cane, but screw it. Like, back in my day, when amiibos were first coming out and Toys R Us still existed, damn it, amiibos were $12. They were $11.99. And the sale at Toys R Us on the regular was buy one, get one half off. So you could get two of your choice for $20. And now that same piece of molded plastic is $40 brand new. That barely, do they even have that much modern functionality with the current lineup of games these days? Are they pushing amiibos still?
The biggest thing they do is like new costumes or palette swaps.
Well, it never really did too much. It was always kind of fun stuff. But I mean, Nintendo's really taking the piss at this point. They're just creating these things as speculative collector's items, but they're already charging huge prices out of the gate. Like, I don't know. Where is their $40 worth of value in an amiibo? That's insane to me.
What was it that they came out with recently? Let me look at the Nintendo Alarmo.
Oh yeah, that was what, $100 for
$110 for a Nintendo branded alarm clock, essentially.
Well, what was they just did something again where they announced whatever they announced. There was another $100 accessory that absolutely no one wants or needs.
The Virtual Boy for Nintendo Switch 2.
Yes,
Just the molded piece of plastic that you still have to put your Switch or Switch 2 in to play Virtual Boy games. Yes, you can use the cardboard, basically Google Cardboard-esque Virtual Boy if you want to. But who the hell is spending $100 to put their Switch in? Who wants to play Virtual Boy again?
for that matter. Getting past that, it's like, let's suppose you never got to play the Mario Tennis and Wario games that are actually pretty good on that. And there
are better ways.
Well, you could do it, via emulation without a red filter over absolutely everything that burns the retinas through your skull. You have to understand that at the time Virtual Boy came out, you were only supposed to play it for like 25 minutes at a time max.
That's all you could.
It would damage your eyes so much. Yes. So, I mean, it's better to just play it in an emulation to experience those games. You're arguably gaining absolutely nothing via the original headset, and certainly nothing now by strapping a Switch 2 to your face, I would think. There's no real VR element. What they're doing is selling it to people that weren't alive when it was actually out.
100%.
That are grasping for, an era that was not theirs kind of thing. Younger people, I think, that now celebrate 80s and 90s and early 2000s culture. And it's saying, hey, we know you never had this, but you heard about it, so we're going to sell you this hunk of molded plastic for $100. Yeah. Nintendo, I guess, are getting the chump of the week overall.
And I fully endorse that.
I
love Nintendo. Don't get me wrong.
I love Nintendo stuff, and I think everybody does love their stuff, but they kind of treat their customers like shit at this point and are willing to just go, yeah, we know you'll pay for it.
They make
Suckers.
some of the dumbest, I mean, not like as you said, because people buy it, but just like some of the most anti-consumer moves.
Well, they also they create false scarcity constantly.
The Super Mario 3D collection
What
that
a
they
joke
just decided
that was.
we're only
Yeah.
going to put out, so ever many. Like, why?
The original Amiibos, there was no reason for any particular one to be
No.
scarce, but they did it.
Tetris 99, which I don't know if they canceled that one, but I know the Super Mario 35.
Mario 99 just
whatever it was.
disappeared. Yeah, they just took that away from everyone. Yeah.
They're just
for
like,
no
oh yeah,
real
this is
reason.
like one of the most fun things that we've created, and now we're just going to get rid of it. Like,
because they'll charge
sense.
you. They'll charge you for it in a couple of years when you remember how much fun it used to be when you played it for free, and now you can buy it for X amount.
Damn you, Nintendo. So anyway, yes, Nintendo, you are our chump of the week.
I'll include the more crim there.
So for Nick, this is Wyatt. Thank you for joining us once again for We Don't Have It Yet. We hope you enjoyed this fun little jaunt this week, and we will talk to you all next week.
Yeah, back to talk about homework of this week and any goings-ons. And Wyatt has specifically promised me that he's going to solve the DNS issue on our website so we can get that up and running.
And Nick is going to be making his famous sausage that Aaron has been trying to hold him hostage for.
Oh, God. Now you're really holding my feet to the flames. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.